Buenos dias, Gunners Collective. Back at it, you already know. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Like a motherfucking ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Like a motherfucking smack addict. Ba-ya-ba. Anyways, back at it like a motherfucking smack addict. You already know in a menudo style, in a direct fashion. We're going to get straight into it. And as you can tell by that thumbnail right there, yes, indeedy, a whole lot of graffiti, man. We're talking about Cellies gone bad. Hey, Cellies gone wild. Orale. Cellies gone wrong. When Cellies kill other Cellies or are accused of it. And it's a cold reality that's happened in the penitentiary and prison, in the administration, in the California Department of Corrections for a lot of years. Things take place. Okay, sometimes you get a Cellie and you guys don't see eye to eye. So you have to rip one of his out. Because at the same time, that's your home. That's your house. That's your casa. That's your pad. That's your chante. However you want to say it. That's your hut. Vato, your igloo if you're Alaskan. You want to go in that motherfucker and you want to be comfortable and probably have the best possible cellie you can have. Now, you can't dictate your cellies. There are some circumstances where you got a little hoo, you got a little pool, a little juice, and you can dictate your cellie. And Sasuke, if you can get a good camarada, a good homeboy moved in there with you, Sasuke, bang, bang. And the winner is. But for the most part, man, they're going to throw in your cell, whoever they throw in your cell, and you have to adapt. You know, you have to set down some foundations, some rules and regulations in that cell, and that's just the way it got to go. Now, I've talked about in the past the worst cellies I've had and the best cellies I've had. And Sasuke, there's been far and few between. There's been a few about this that were, they were in the middle, and they were weeble wobbling. They rode the fence. But at the same time, some of them probably felt the same way about me. Maybe things that I did they didn't like. They were like, oh, what the Sasuke? When they were on the bunk. Not the gunner rector, man. That was a cat, right? I don't really care for him. He is funny though, right? Whatever. View Gunners Collective. Bang bang. Gunners Profile. Anyways, trip out. What I wanted to talk about today is cellies that kill other cellies. You know, they just get to that certain point where they can't take it no more, man. And one thing leads to another. It could be a form of disrespect. It could be many things. But at the same time, it's unfortunate the way it unfolds. So we're talking about the name Josh Kirtley, who was in Pelican Bay, was found in his cell, gone, dead, right? And this happened on October 17th, 2020. Okay, so what happened is he was settled with another vato named Jesse Ripley. Jesse Ripley was down doing a life bid already. Or excuse me, Jesse Ripley was down doing 10 years. And while incarcerated doing 10 years for a burglary, a residential burglary, he actually picked up 15 more years for assaultive behavior on another inmate. So it gets crazy. You can go in with the little 18-month bid and get life, vato. It happens. You know, that's part of the game. But anyways, this vato, he went in there and he picked up another 15 on top of his 10. So he was at the point of no return. So it was just going to keep manifesting. Now, of course, he was He was from the wood pile. So Sasuke, they move a different way that Norteños moved at one point. But at the same time, the woods wiggle. Okay, they're about their business. They're very structured. The way they maneuver nowadays is in a vicious fashion. That's a fact. Okay, you're not to sleep on the woods because the woods handle their business. So anyways, these two guys are celled up right there in Pelican Bay. Now, anyone that knows, yes, the notorious Pelican Bay. I think this happened on B Yard in Pelican Bay, and it went down. It definitely went down. What happened was there was some type of confusion in the cell, some type of, and we'll never know because we weren't in that cell. Sasuke, I wasn't the fly on the wall or the cucaracha under the Mr. Kirkley's foot. But at the same time, what happens was there was some type of confrontation there. You know, to what degree of confrontation, I can't call it. I don't know if this vato was deemed and the cellie was told to hit him. I don't know if the vato even hit a cellie because it's all allegedly, right? That this went down. But I do know that on October 20th, 2020, or October 17, 2020, excuse me, Mr. Ripley was out doing some bar work on the yard out there in Pelican Bay when, of course, the IGI and the Placas approached him and arrested him on the yard because they found his cellie unresponsive in the cell. He was dead. What led up to it? Like I said, we'll never know. And it's an unfortunate thing. You know, you got two cellies. I don't know how long they were celled up together. I don't know if one vato had a bad case or whatever. I do know Mr. Kirkley was a lifer. He was in there doing life already, so he wasn't going home anyway. So Sasuke, now you really ain't going home, right? He's gone. And like I said, it's just an unfortunate circumstance, but it's happened. I've seen it many times, you know. Let's take, for instance, this vato, Jaime Osuna. You know, I've spoken about this vato several times. This individual literally decapitated his cellie, Gil Romero, in Corcoran prison. Now, you got to understand, Gil Romero, this was an SNY yard. Sasuke, the wind's blowing. It had to be. Gil Romero at that time had just come from Mule Creek Prison. Okay? He had just come from Mule Creek Prison. He had already been down, I think, 17 years or 20 years. So he had been doing his tiempo quite peacefully. He checked in, obviously, because he came from an SNYR, which is Mule Creek, and he transferred out of the blue to Corcoran. Now, they do that. You can't dictate where you're going to go and how you're going to get there. All you know is that if they tell you to roll it up, mama knows you're gone, baboso, ¿sabes qué? Hey, get your shit and let's go. What about my sopas coming in cantina? Fuck your sopas and cantina. Roll it up. You're gone. Jump on the Grey Goose and get somewhere. This Vato moves out of the blue from Mule Creek to Corcoran, where we all know, and if you don't know now, you know, Google it, but in Corcoran, Jaime Osuna was waiting there. Now, there's been a whole bunch of theories, conspiracy theories concerning this case. I know Jaime Osuna is still going through the motions with that particular court case. But I know that for one reason or another, maybe this Vato Gil Romero mouthed off to the placas. Maybe it was a co-setup and maybe it wasn't. But allegedly, they threw him in this cell with Jaime Osuna, who was supposed to be on walk alone. Okay, the Vato Jaime Osuna was a very treacherous and dangerous individual. Now, I've heard from several people that he was a softie in character, in real life, but probably wasn't the type of man that you want to be sold up with. Sasuke the Vato displayed some scary tactics, right? So anyways, they sell these individuals up together, and we all know the story because I've spoken on it before. Jaime Osuna decapitated, his cellie. Cut out pieces of his organ, wrote things on the wall, and basically, I got pictures of it. So I can't put them out there. I wish I could, man, to let you guys know exactly what went down and how it went down. But I've seen it in real life. His head was over here on the table. So again, his body was over there posted like this. Watch out. You know what I mean? It was a wrap. It was done. Now, that's not even the coldest part. The coldest part was the why and the how. The how, he did it with some string and a little old razor, right? So he put in a whole lot of work. It's an ugly situation, but it's a harsh reality of what can happen. If you get set up with the wrong person, you always got to be on your tippy toes, because if not, your cellie could choke the shit out of you, right? He could just feel some type of way. Sasuke, he was having a bad day. He farted. You didn't like the way it smelled. You voiced your opinion, Sasuke. Next thing you know, your head's over there and your hand's over there. But this guy, Jaime Osuna, not only did he, or Jaime Osuna, Despensa La Tira, not only did he decapitate his cellie and do this, but he also cut off an ear, a finger, piece of the lung, I think it was a toe. And he made a necklace. And so when the blackness came and they discovered that this Vato was dead already for 24 hours, there was a count time when he was already gone where they went by, and obviously they didn't look right because they said, Sasuke, he's briefing. He was briefing, right? The breath was there, the air was there, the oxygen was in his lungs. They said he was alive and he was breathing. Obviously, the coroner says, no, there's no way possible. He was already gone. So there's a discrepancy there. I'm sure would have come up in court, and Sasuke, Jaime Osuna might be like that. They fucked up. Whatever the case may be, when they finally noticed that, hey, there's a head right there, and they came in the cell to see, this horrible scene, this horrific scene, the Vato Jaime Osuna was kicking back right in the letra, wearing a necklace made out of an ear, a finger, and a piece of a lung. It be like that sometimes. Sometimes you get sold up with guys, and they're looking at your orejas like, I bet you those motherfuckers taste bomb. Tacos de orejas. You know what I mean? Tacos de perro, oreja. It's all the same. It's carne. You don't know. You get sold up with an individual and you're thinking right off the top, okay, he's doing time just like I'm doing time. I ain't scared of this motherfucker. If he wants to run up, he can run up. He can get done up real quick. At the same time, you don't know what's going through that man's mentality. I've had a lot of cellies in my lifetime, man. And Sasuke, they get this smile on their face like, there, watch out. Watch it real slow motion. I'm like, oh shit. Something's good. This about to ain't the Joker, right? But I'm about to be the poker and get off real quick if, get off where I'm mad at. But I've never had that experience where I've had a couple celly, we've gotten into some altercations and we fought. Wasn't supposed to do that, wasn't supposed to go that route, but at the same time, man, so I was getting pedo stunk and I wasn't feeling that, or he snored too loud or vice versa. Either way, that's how it went down. But the cool part about this situation with this Mr. Kirtley and Mr. Ripley was they were actually both Woods, from who I talked to concerning the situation, they were homeboys. Like I said, politics could have played a big part into this, but at the same time, one never knows, does one? There's been so many cases documented of cellie on cellie. And I'm not necessarily going to say that this Vato, Mr. Ripley, did kill his cellie. He's just under arrest for it. He's just sitting back in administrative segregation, sitting down. And that's going to happen. They're automatically going to assume when your cellie comes up short, well, fuck, there ain't no one else in the cell to do it. You know, but anyone could have ran up in the cell on the line movement and, or, you know, what stands out so much in this case was Mr. Ripley had several abrasions on his face, on his hands, consistent with an altercation, right? Allegedly. So this is how it goes down. You know, of course, it doesn't take two on the 10 to figure that shit out. Sasuke, it's written all over your face. You don't have to say a word. They didn't have to say a word, rude boy. It was written all over the Vato's face, and that's it, and his knuckles. So it happened in Pelican Bay in 2020. And like I said, it's a very unfortunate incident, but it's nothing new. It's not like it stands out, you know, like this Jaime Osuna shit. Now that stood out. So if I come into your cell and you're wearing a Vato's ear on a necklace, and it's not a fucking rosary, Sasuke, Houston, we have a fucking crazy Vato, right? Straight up. But I've seen other circumstances, and I think I've told the story, but I'm going to reiterate it right now because it parallels with this. I was in Tracy prison. Okay, I was in Tracy prison. I was posted up, kicking back. I was in my cell, relaxing. I was actually set up with the homeboy Cisco in Sunnyvale at the time. That was a good fucking righteous cellie, one of the most righteous cellies I ever had. And we're chopping it up, you know, it's kind of program shutdown, or it wasn't program shutdown, but basically for us, we were shut that shit down. You feel me? And they bring this big old white dude in. And I mean, they're about to swole, taquear down. Looks like he just came from old Folsom. About to, if Folsom belonged to us, pues having respect feels even better. He was one of those type of vatos. He came in and you could just tell, you could see the killer on his face. This guy wasn't an individual to be played with. So, of course, I'm being metiche. I'm right there on the door. I'm listening to the conversation because he's my neighbor. Now, prior to him coming, there had been a little old gabacho, a little wood that they had put in there. He looked like he was a first-termer. So he looked like he just rolled off the boat with bedhead. You know what I mean? Like con Danny, with his hair all fucked up. And just fucking, they put him in the cell, and I was like, that vato, he won't last. He hits a linea, man. They're gonna have all his canteen. And that was just my observation. But anyways, they bring this big ass Vato in. Sasuke looking like the white Debo. If Vato comes in, I can hear him telling the placa, hey, I just came from High Desert. He's there on a court transfer. Just coming back for court. And he's like, hey, I'm supposed to be celled alone on the bottom tier. Meaning he has a lower tier chrono, but also a cell alone chrono. And for those of you that don't know, what that means is some people, they have such a violent attitude and they get into so many altercations with their cellies, or they're sick. For one reason or another, man, they get a chrono that says they're to be celled alone. Well, you got to understand, Tracy don't give a fuck about none of that back then. This was 06. They were like, man, Sasuke, the wind's blowing, about to take your ass in the cell. And he's like, look, I'm letting you know right now, if I go in that cell, I'm going to kill that dude. Right? That should have set off it should have been like, wah, wah, wah. Like, hey, Sasuke, what do you mean you're going to kill him? He didn't say I was going to beat him up or I was going to fucking Will Smith slap the shit out of him. He didn't say none of that. He said, I'm going to go in that cell. I'm going to take my motherfucking fist. I'm going to turn it sideways, and I'm going to stick it up his candy ass, right, until he's dead. Of course, the guy, the placa, he just wanted to go fucking get a burrito from the taco truck. It was about time for him to get off. He said, look, man, we'll figure it out in the morning. You just got to get in there. We don't got no other cells available. Boop, de boop, 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 boop. And at the same time, I understand he's just trying to do his pinchy job. The vato was just trying to do his job. But this guy was like, he was handcuffed too. He was like, Sasuke. Oh, yes, there will be blood, right? And so they throw him in the cell. Now, you got to imagine what was going through his cellie's mind. He's probably sitting there like, what part of the game is this? Well, you're about to find out what part of the game is this. This is go and collect your 200, right? Or don't go and don't collect. Either way, the Vato's about to hit you with boardwalk. So the Vato walks in, and I don't hear nothing. I'm like this. I'm telling my son, watch out, watch out. They're about to get off. Nothing happens. We don't hear no noises. Next day, it's chow time, and I hear the placa, and we were on a lockdown situation at this time, so they were handing us bag lunches in the morning. They give you a tray and a bag lunch, right? And I hear him say, hey, tell your cellie to get up to get his tray. And Vato's like, hey, he's dead. He said, what do you mean? He's dead tired or what? Oh, he's dead, all right. Maybe not necessarily tired, but he's dead. And, of course, they come snatch the guy off. Man down, man down. They come with the gurney, and they take this youngster out, and that was that. That was an unfortunate cellie experience. You just never know, what the world brings to you when it's your time. It's your time. Sometimes it's your time to shine. Sometimes your candle gets blown out, and it's time to dim. And that was a very, very, very unfortunate because the youngster, he had no chance. He didn't stand a chance. You know, he wasn't, he didn't know better, so he didn't do better. And it just was he could have been in any cell, bro, and he probably would have did the same thing to any cell he had. Sasuke, if he would have came in, he was a big white boy, so okay, they weren't going to sell the Northerners in the woods up at that time. But if he would have came in my cell, Sasuke, I'd have been poking his eyes, hitting him in the whales, whatever I had to do. Sasuke, straight up. You know what I mean? I'd have been stinging him with my stinger. It's just a cold situation. But it's happened over time. You know, Cellies get in altercations, they get in fights, and they kill each other. You know, like I said, not every man can live with another man. It's hard living with a woman. Sasuke. You know what I mean? You know, you already know. Hey, why didn't you take out the trash? Bitch, because I was playing PlayStation. Leave me alone, Sasuke. I'm trying to get up my experience on Vanguard, bitch, right? This is why. So now you imagine you have a cellie. Hey, Sasuke, it's your day to clean the cell. Hey, watch out, homie. I cleaned it yesterday. I know, homie, but it goes 2-3-2. Sasuke, who made up those rules? I did. What? Because I've been in here longer. You know what I mean? Stay down. Just stay down. You know what I mean? And like Conor McGregor, what the fuck? He's tapping. And that's it. It just be going down like this sometimes. Anyways, like I said, it happened in Pelican Bay Prison, man. Mr. Curley, Mr. Ripley, allegedly, hopefully it all works out for the individuals involved. I know for Mr. Curley, I don't think it worked out well because he's gone. But for Mr. Ripley, Sasuke, the talented Mr. Ripley, you know what I mean? Now you see me, now you don't. Hopefully, it works out good for the Vato, you know, without being too funny. Anyways, I hope that you move fast with a purpose. I hope that this is something in your mind that goes into the back of your mind. If you're contemplating getting incarcerated and doing crime, Sasuke, you never know who you're going to be sold up with. Double up, You never know how it can go down. Sometimes it gets ugly. I've never had those experiences. Gracias. And Sasuke, I had the pedazo on standby if anything ever went down. You feel me? Anyways, move fast with a purpose. Go out there and hustle for your familia. Get what you got to get, man. Remember, it's black and brown unity. It's all about the struggle for the real gente, man. It's all about the struggle for all people in general, man. I got love for all the gente. The raza, first and foremost, you already know. If I wasn't this, homie, I'd still be participating as such. It's a brown thing. Anyways, with that being said, go out there and get it. If you like this, hit that thumbs up. Please like and subscribe. Notification bell's right there. It's going ding, 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 ding. If not, thumbs down. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to struggle and strive for me, my familia, and all the gente in the raza. It is what it is. Bang, bang. The gun. God damn that. What the? He just choked his celly, I guess. Allegedly.